So the Cleveland Browns offensive tackle Wyatt Teller talks about today Joe Burrow's injury and what he's going through because he's already dealt with 2 times calf strain issues. Let's go ahead and look at what he had to say. He said, "I'm praying for Joey," Teller said. Yeah, no, it's tough. Depending on the position, calf strains are never fun. As it says in this article, there are one person who may know as well as anyone on the Browns roster about calf strains. It's Teller. The first time Teller sustained one was in 2020, which cost him 3 games. He was out for 3 games because of this calf strain. He sustained another calf strain last season in Week 6, lost to New England Patriots, an injury in which he didn't fully recover from until Week 12. So another 3 full games that he missed. Calf strains, again, I talked about it yesterday, depending on the severity of it, whether it's a 1, 2, or a 3, it depends on how long it's going to take you. If it's a 3, you're out for 3 months. If it's a 2, you're out for 4 to 6 weeks. If it's a 1, you're out from anywhere from 1 week to 2 to 3 weeks. So it really depends on how long, how severe the injury is. He continued to say this. It's one of those things that even when it happened in 2020, it was a different muscle. And those 2 words I'm gonna not even try to butcher. There are 2 muscle groups. Teller said, depending on which one it is, I mean, you're pounding the ground. All that different stuff. It's hard to put pressure. It's hard to stop on the bull rush. Now, keep in mind that Teller is an offensive lineman. So he has 300-pound, men going against him, pushing against him every single play. Now, while, don't get me wrong, being a quarterback is so difficult while having a calf strain, at least you could put a boot on it, stay in the pocket, and not be mobile. You can't not be mobile as an offensive lineman. The big difference between Teller and Burrow is the positions they play, and the weight they carry. Teller is 6'4", 315 pounds, offensive guard, while Burrow is a 6'4", 215-pound quarterback. 250 would be a little bit different. 215-pound quarterback. Teller admits while there were times where he was able to cover up the pain, the nature of the position sometimes just opens the door to hurting the calf more. And this is why another thing that I do want to go ahead and mention here is that when Joe Burrow went into that training camp day, which was, of course, Wednesday, he already had his calf wrapped up. So it makes me think that he might have pulled it the day before. He might have gotten a calf strain on Tuesday, the first day of training camp, and it was sore. And then by him, playing Wednesday and rolling out as much as he did, because keep in mind, he rolled out of the pocket a lot more than he usually does. I think that might have been what happened. He might have got a calf strain on Tuesday, but it wasn't that bad. Maybe it was a grade 1. And he re-injured it Wednesday by running on it so much. So I kind of think that might have happened. Zach Taylor did say the reason why he might have wrapped up his calf is because some players, they're not injured, but they might be banged up a little bit from the first day of training camp. So sometimes they put a wrap around their, certain muscle groups because of that. That could be a possibility. He continued to say this. What we do if you're running the ball and all you're doing is running the ball and going backwards and covering stuff like that, it's not too bad, Teller said. You can kind of lock it in place and kind of work with it. But when you're pounding into the ground, you really do feel it. And again, like I said, that's why from the quarterback perspective, there are ways to work with a calf strain, I would say, if you have a grade 1, where you can still be on the field. You're not 100%, but you're not really putting too much pressure on your foot while you're being quarterback. For offensive lineman, that's out of the question, man. You really cannot get rid of it, especially, again, depending on your severity. If you have a grade 3, that's out the window. That's 3 months, period. But a grade 1 or 2, you're going to really feel it if you're trying to play through it. Teller himself would be the first one to tell you He isn't quite the same player even once he got back to playing regularly, yet even though he essentially battled the effects of the injury for the final 3 months of the season, he still ended up being named to the Pro Bowl for the second time. It was Nagy, Teller said. I came back and got bursitis in my left knee. I guess that's the medicine. Everything that happened on my left, I think I was in a process and I got a little low ankle sprain. And it was just, God. But it all worked out. We wish I played a little bit better last year. No excuses, but yeah, it was tough. And again, like I said, every single injury possible is never easy to go through, never easy to deal with, especially when it comes to your lower muscle group, ACL, MCL, PCL, calves, all those muscle groups. Because again, you got to keep in mind, you can hurt your arm and just not use your arm for a day. If you hurt one of your muscles in your legs, you walk every single day. Especially these pro athletes, they're working out every single day. They got to go to facility, go to practice. They can't stay in bed. They have to do things. So if they hurt one of those things, they're going to have to still walk on it. Needless to say, Burrow's availability and his health was a huge factor in that game, and of course, it's still a month and a half away. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was praying for him, Teller said. I've been through that, and it sucks. I wouldn't wish that my worst enemy. So I'm just praying he gets back and he gets all right. And shout out to Teller for that. You know, you always love to see good sportsmanship in football. And especially, come on now. There are players out there, I'm sure, who, when someone gets injured, they're happy, they're excited. There's just absolutely dirtbags about it. But majority of players, I will say, no player wants to see another player get injured. In reality, they don't. You might say in the moment, oh yeah, we just hit the quarterback and knocked him out, that's awesome. But in reality, that player in that moment might say that or might act like that, but no one wants to see it. Because again, you gotta keep in mind, no one wants to see it because that's another person over there, right? That's another human being that just got hurt, or maybe they ruined their life. You never know. Some injuries, Ryan Shazier's injury, he was done for life. So it depends on, obviously in game, the momentum, the energy's up, you're angry, you're ticked off, you're really going at it. But at the end of the day, injury is still the scariest thing in the NFL, and it's going to happen forever. And an injury like this, especially because it's a non-contact injury, is the scariest crap. Because that's not even, like I said in my video yesterday, if you can't even connect points. You can't even say, okay, well, if we stop this or we stop, certain players doing this, then that injury won't happen. This was a freak incident where he rolled out and he pulled his calf. So it's definitely scary. But nonetheless, guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.